Okay. All right. Part 4, our last part of, fortunately, the milk. We're going to see what that Grundledorfer button did. Hey, dude. There's Jameson. Okay. All right. The picture here is ooey gooey aliens.
Why did I think that I liked it?
Okay. Do you want to listen to the story?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read the story. So shh.
Why?
Because it's good to listen to stories.
Ha, 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 ha.
The vampires, pirates, piranhas, volcano god, and the worshippers of the volcano god were gone. What if, suggested one of the green globby aliens hopefully, we only redecorated the southern hemisphere? Not a chance, I said. Now release us, or the milk touches itself. And then go away. Leave this planet forever. The aliens looked at me, then they looked at each other, and then they sighed, with a noise like 100 elephantine snot balloons all deflating at once. Right, they said. It was at that moment that a voice louder than anything I have ever heard, and I had heard a volcano erupt at very close range, said, "Galactic Police, do not move." My hands shook, but the milk did not touch the milk, and the universe did not end. There were red and blue flashing lights, and then, stepping off their space bikes, were about half a dozen uniformed dinosaurs holding unmistakably large and extremely serious weapons. They pointed their weapons at the green globby aliens. "You are charged with breaking into people's planets and redecorating them," said a noble and imposing-looking Tyrannosaurus Rex. "And then with running away and doing it again somewhere else over and over. You have committed crimes against the inhabitants of 18 planets and crimes against good taste." "What we did to Rigel 4 was art," argued a globby alien. "Art? There are people on Rigel 4, said an Ankylosaurus, who have to look up every night at a moon with 3 huge plaster ducks flying across it. Something very long with a head on the end of it came over to us. It was attached to a very large body on the other side of the room. "Who are you?" it asked Professor Stegg. "And why is your gorilla holding a transtemporally dislocated milk container?" "I am not a gorilla," I said. "I am a human father." There's the Galactic Police. "The human is holding the milk in order to make these evil redecorating snot bubbles go away and stop menacing this planet and us," said Professor Stegg. The Diplodocus in a police cap opened its mouth and didn't say anything. The Tyrannosaurus, who had handcuffed all of the green globby people together with something that looked a lot more like pink string in a can than it looked like handcuffs, which was a good thing because they probably didn't have hands, and they definitely didn't have wrists, stared at us, and his eyes opened wide. "Great day in the morning," he exclaimed. "A biped, a stegosaurus, a floaty ball person carrier." And he stopped, as if unable to go on. A pteranodon flapped over to us and then landed at Professor Stegg's feet. It looked up at him and said hesitantly, could you be the inventor of Professor Stegg's pointy zooming into outer space machine? Of Professor Stegg really good moves around in time machine? Would you be the author of my travels into the extremely far future and what I found there? Professor Stegg, wisest of all dinosaur kind. Madam, is it truly you?" Brontosaurus, the police officer dinosaur. "It is," said the professor. "Madam?" I thought, embarrassed. "And this is my assistant." The pteranodon extended a wingtip for me to shake, and without thinking, I moved the second milk from my right hand to my left, where the first milk was. Everybody gasped. Unfortunately, the milk that had been in my right hand, which was the same as the milk that was in my left hand, the same milk, 15 minutes apart, touched each other. I held my breath. There was a fizzing noise, and a mewing, as if 100 kittens were being agitated in an enormous basket. Professor Stegg closed her eyes. "I can't look," she said. 3 purple dwarves, with flower pots on their heads, appeared from nowhere and began to do a little dance. Did the universe end? Said the Tyrannosaurus, with his eyes tightly scrunched closed. Look, I said. We all watched the dwarfs dance. They weren't human and they weren't dinosaurs. They had purple skin and flower pots on their heads, and they had lots of flowers growing out of them. They did a complicated sort of dance with lots of leg kicking and shouts of oi and ole and hertung. And then, as strangely as they had come, they vanished. Ah, said Professor Stegg. It was always a possibility that this might happen. And fortunately, the universe has not ended. She pressed the button again with her tail. A small hole in space and time opened up. I was standing on the other side with a baffled expression on my face. Catch, I shouted, and threw the milk through the hole. As the portal closed, I saw me catch the milk using my stomach. The green globby aliens having been rounded up and taken away, all the space dinosaurs gathered around. I can't believe it, said the Diplodocus. Professor Stegg, just like in the comics, the dinosaur who taught us that in the far future small mammals will eat their breakfast cereal with milk on it. Inventor of the button, she's here, in front of us, with her gorilla. Professor Stegg is a girl. Not a gorilla, but a human father, said Professor Stegg, and all the other dinosaurs gasped and said things like, how wise she is, and what a brain, and how can you tell the difference between that creature and a gorilla? Is it the shoes? Professor Stegg said, this human father has been my companion on my strange journey into the future. Now, before I take my leave of him and come with you, O space dinosaurs, we should sing to him one of the great old dinosaur songs. They sang me a song in 6-part harmony called How Do You Feel This Morning When You Know What You Did Last Night? Then they sang me a song called Don't Go Down to the Tar Pits, Dear, Because I'm Getting Stuck on You. The Space Police dinosaurs sang me a song about being space police and saving people all over the universe and driving very fast space bikes. And then they all sang a song called I've Got a Loverly Bunch of Hard-Hairy Wet White Crunchers, which was an ancient dinosaur song that had apparently been written by Professor Stegg's Aunt Button. Sounds kind of like I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts, as heard in The Lion King. There is nothing in the whole of creation as beautiful as dinosaurs singing in harmony. Now, said Professor Stegg, I shall go off in my floaty ball person carrier with my newfound dinosaur space police friends, and I shall explore the universe, and then I shall return to my own time and write a book about it. You actually write several books, said the Diplodocus. Professor Stegg's Guide to Everything in the Whole of the Future was my favorite. It's very inspirational. I said goodbye to all the dinosaurs. I thanked Professor Stegg for saving my life. Not at all, she said. We were both fortunate that you had the milk with you. It is not every container of milk that saves the world, after all. That was me that saved the world, I said, not the milk. The space dinosaurs all had their pictures taken holding the milk and smiling at the camera. What are you going to do with the milk? They asked me. Are you going to put it in a museum? No, I am not, I told them. I'm going to give it to my children for their breakfast cereal. And possibly I will pour some in my tea. Professor Stegg nipped up the back of the rope ladder and climbed into the gondola of her balloon. The last I saw of her, of any of them, was the whole inside of the saucer was fading into light so bright I had to close my eyes and look away. And then I was standing at the back door of our house, none the worse for wear. Fortunately, the dinosaurs had given me back the milk after they had their photos taken with it. So I came in, and here I am. Here's the dinosaurs with the milk. Father with the milk. There he is, back home. That was what my dad said. I looked at my sister, and my sister looked at me. Then we both looked around the kitchen, at the calendar on the wall with the hot air balloons on it, at my dinosaur models and my sister's ponies and my sister's vampire books, at the picture of a volcano I had painted when I was little last year, which is still up on the wall by the fridge. We looked at those things, and we looked at my dad. You know, we don't believe any of this, said my sister. We don't, I told him. Not any of it. especially not how you save the world from being remodeled, or the pirates. Not any of it, I said. My father shrugged. Suit yourselves, he said, but it was all true, and I can prove it. How? Yes, how? Asked my little sister. Well, said my father, putting it down on the kitchen table, here's the milk. And he went back to reading his paper. And there's the kids. And that is the end. I'm going to stop recording here.